welcome to another episode of the World Chess Champion held in Singapore between Dane Iran versus Gukesh. This is game 4. This dude have been giving each other punches to punches. It has been an exciting tournament so far. Dane has won a game, Gukesh has won a game. We are going to witness what is going to happen in the game 4 as the game start up. Dane is playing with the white pieces and he lashes out with knight f3. Gukesh start with the game with d5, pawn d5, pawn e3, knight f6 by Gukesh, b3, bishop f5 by Gukesh, e2, bishop e2, h6, bishop a3, lashing out with the bishop. He wanted to put pressure on Gukesh bishop, but Gukesh doesn't panic, because if this open up after this trade, the king will be forced to be traded. But Gukesh has a plan. He played knight d7, knight d7, just defending that square, because then the knight will be able to recapture. That is exactly what happened in some few moments, because after castle the king out of the center, e6, bishop capture, knight back, knight just recapture. The knight can go back to the square. It doesn't matter. It's not going to affect Gukesh, because then slasher with c4, the knight back to d7, c3 by knight c3 by Dane. Gukesh castle is king out of the center. This is the first time we are witnessing this stuff, where after some few moves, these two gladiators just castle the king out of the center. This is really intense, because we are going to find out what really happens in the game. Dane have to capture, and after this pawn capture, after the recapture, b4 by Dane, c6 by Gukesh, knight d4, bishop h7, queen b3, queen b3. Now I don't know, the queen is putting pressure on this side of the Dane. Queen is putting pressure. Knight back to e4, knight e4, and after a4, rook c8, rook c8. If this square ever open up, Gukesh rook would be a monster rook, so Gukesh just plug in the rook to that square. a5 by Dane, b6 by Gukesh. Now he's asking for a trade, he's asking for a trade, but Dane just play knight f3, knight capture, bishop capture, d4 by Dane, knight e2. After this captures, he recaptures back. Only then did they play bishop e4. Bishop e4. Gukesh want to trade more pieces. Gukesh is ready to trade more pieces in this game. Rook slide to d1, asking for what do you do with your queen by Dane? So the queen slide out, bishop capture, knight capture, plugging the knight in the square. Pawn captures, knight hopping to c3, rook here, and this knight captures, queen captures, pawn h3, creating a breathing space for the king. Gukesh last out with pawn c5, a rook trade. After this trade, pawn captures, and now after this recapture, Gukesh is having a pass pawn. If Gukesh can lash out, can pushes his pawn forward, it's just going to be a victory, but not Dane. Dane is not going to allow that, because he lash out with rook c1, putting the rook behind the pass pawn, queen back to e5, defending the pawn, queen c2, putting more pressure on the pawn, rook come to d5, defending the pawn, and after sometimes pawn g3, pawn Gukesh Lassa with pawn c2, king g2, king h7, queen c4. I don't know what queen c4 does, because Gukesh play queen d6, and then in this position Lasha with e4, just putting pressure on the rooks and the pawn. Rook slide out of arm's way, pawn captures, rook captures, queen e4, pinning the rook to the king. And Gukesh in this position play some crazy move, because he found queen d5, just pinning Dane queen to the king. And after queen captures, rook captures, king f3, king at g7, king e4, and this position they just repeat move, rook check, king back, rook back, king back, and they just repeat move, and the game end in a threefold repetition. It end in a draw. This is what happens in the game 4. Tomorrow we'll be seeing exactly how game 5 will look like. Hope you enjoyed this episode. See you in the next round. Bye.